Chosen ones, listen carefully, because this is not a casual message and it is not arriving by accident. There are moments when heaven interrupts routine, when God leans into time and presses a truth so deeply into your spirit that ignoring it becomes impossible. This is one of those moments you may have clicked out of curiosity, out of boredom, or even skepticism, but beneath that surface reason, there's a deeper pull that brought you here. God wants you to be with a specific person, and the intensity you feel right now is not imagination, it is recognition. Something in you already knows this message is personal, targeted, and alive. For a long time you have been praying not just for companionship, but for alignment. You ask God to remove confusion, to silence false connections, to strip away relationships that looked right but drained your soul. You ask for clarity, even if it hurt. And slowly, quietly, God began answering by creating distance, by exposing intentions, by allowing misunderstandings to separate you from what could not walk into your next season. What felt like loss was actually preparation. What felt like delay was protection. God was clearing space for a connection that carries weight, purpose, and destiny. There is a reason this person keeps crossing your mind when you least expect it. You could be focused on work, on prayer, on healing, and suddenly their name surfaces like a whisper you didn't invite. You tried to rebuke it, to distract yourself, to rationalize it away, but it keeps returning with a calm persistence. This is not obsession. This is resonance. When God marks a connection, it doesn't shout. It echoes. It returns gently, repeatedly, until you finally stop resisting and start listening. Chosen ones, God does not randomly bind hearts. He aligns assignments. The person He wants you to be with is not just meant to love you, but to walk with you into purpose. This is why previous relationships failed when you tried to grow spiritually. They could not follow where God was taking you. This person, however, has been shaped by similar fire. They have cried prayers you never heard, fought battles you never saw, and asked God for you without knowing your face. Heaven has been working on both sides of the connection simultaneously. You may be surprised by the name because it does not match your expectations. You assume God would choose someone obvious, someone you already labeled as perfect or safe, but God rarely moves according to human checklists. Sometimes the name surprises you because it belongs to someone you overlooked, someone you dismissed, or someone you thought was out of reach. Other times it shocks you because it comes from a chapter you believed was closed. But hear this clearly, God does not resurrect what He did not first redeem. If He brings a name back to the surface, it is because something has changed beneath it. This person has been through transformation. The version you remember is not the version God is presenting now. While you were healing, they were breaking. While you were growing, they were surrendering. God allowed isolation in both of your lives so pride could die and humility could be born. That is why the timing feels strange. That is why the connection feels familiar yet new. It is not a rewind, it is a realignment. Chosen ones, the reason this message feels urgent is because delay is no longer serving either of you. There is purpose attached to your union that cannot fully activate until alignment takes place. You are not meant to complete each other out of weakness, but to reinforce each other in strength. This is not about filling a void, it is about multiplying impact. God is intentional with covenant, and what He is forming is not fragile. It is forged. You have noticed how conversations with this person, even brief ones, leave you thinking deeper, praying harder, and seeing clearer. There is no need to impress, no need to perform. There is a strange safety in their presence, even if distance currently exists. That safety is spiritual recognition. Your spirit recognizes what your mind is still catching up to. This is why you feel peace even before clarity. Peace often arrives before explanation. Do not confuse this with emotional fantasy. God is not leading you into confusion. If anything, He is dismantling confusion layer by layer. You are being taught discernment, not desperation. The connection God is highlighting does not create anxiety, it creates stillness. Even when questions remain, fear does not dominate. That is one of the strongest confirmations you can receive. Chosen ones, the enemy has tried to counterfeit this connection many times. He sent distractions that look similar on the surface but lack depth. He sent people who mirrored desire but not destiny. And each time something felt off, you tried to force peace where there was none. With this person, you are not forcing anything. You are simply noticing alignment unfolding naturally. That is how God moves when something is ordained. The name will shock you because it carries history, emotion, and unresolved memory. But God is not intimidated by history. He is Lord over it. He knows every detail you are afraid to revisit, every conversation you replay in your mind, every moment you wish you could rewrite. And still, He says this connection is worth redeeming, worth restoring, worth trusting again in a new way. That does not mean the past is ignored. It means the past is healed enough to stop controlling the future. You are not imagining the signs. The repetition, the confirmations, the subtle nudges are intentional. God speaks in patterns when he wants your attention. A name repeated is not coincidence, it is communication. But God will not force you. He reveals, then waits. He invites, then observes your response. This is where faith matures, when you choose obedience not because everything is explained, but because peace confirms the direction. Chosen ones, the connection God wants for you will challenge you, but it will not consume you. It will stretch you, but it will not shrink you. You will grow individually and together. There will be moments of silence, moments of learning, moments of patience. This is not a rushed union. It is a refined one. God is not building something temporary. He is establishing something that can withstand seasons, pressure, and purpose. Right now, God is asking you to release control. Stop trying to name the outcome before the process unfolds. Stop interrogating timing. Stop questioning worthiness. If God has placed this name back into your spirit, he has already accounted for your flaws, your fears, and your past mistakes. He is not asking for perfection. He is asking for trust. You may feel a pull to pray differently now, more intentionally, more specifically. Follow that leading. Speak the name without fear. Cover the connection without anxiety. Ask God to prepare both hearts continuously. Prayer is not manipulation, it is alignment. When you pray for what God is already orchestrating, you step into partnership rather than resistance. Chosen ones, there will be a moment soon where clarity sharpens. A conversation, a message, an encounter, or a realization will shift something internally. It will not be dramatic, but it will be definitive. You will feel a settling, a quiet confirmation that this is the direction we're meant to walk. Until then, remain grounded. Do not rush ahead of God and do not retreat into fear. Remember, what God joins, he sustains. What he ordains, he protects. And what he reveals, he does so with purpose. This connection is not meant to distract you from God, but to draw you closer to him. That is how you know it is real. When love aligns with purpose, it strengthens faith rather than competing with it. Stay open. Stay discerning, stay prayerful, because as this unfolds, you will begin to notice how pieces you once thought were separate start aligning, how questions you carried for years begin answering themselves, and how the name that once confused you now brings clarity, peace, and anticipation. And as you continue to walk forward, you will realize that the timing is not random, the stirring is not emotional, and the way this person keeps appearing in your thoughts at critical moments is connected to something God has been forming quietly behind the scenes, something that is still unfolding, still aligning, still waiting for the moment when both of you are ready to recognize what heaven has already acknowledged and to step into it without fear, without hesitation, without looking back at who you used to be, because what is ahead is not a repeat of the past, but the beginning of a chapter that has been written with intention, patience, and a depth that will continue to reveal itself as you remain attentive to the signs, the nudges, and the gentle yet persistent way God continues to speak. Even when the silence feels louder than answers, because God often works deepest in the quiet spaces where faith is no longer supported by evidence but by trust alone. You are learning how to listen without rushing, how to sense without demanding proof, and this is preparing you for the kind of connection that requires maturity rather than impulse. The person God entice you to be with will not be revealed through pressure, but through peace, and that peace will grow stronger the more you surrender control. There have been nights when you ask God directly, almost pleading, asking him to remove this person from your heart if they were not part of his plan. You expected the feeling to fade, but instead it softened, refined, and became calmer, more anchored. That is because God does not tease the heart. If he allows something to remain, it is because it serves a purpose. Desire that survives prayer is often destiny disguised as patience. Chosen ones, understand this clearly. God is not testing you to see how much you can endure emotionally. He is teaching you discernment so you do not sabotage what he is building. The delay is not denial. The pause is not rejection. It is alignment. Timing is everything in spiritual connections, because arriving too early can damage what arriving prepared would strengthen. This person is also in a process, even if you cannot see it. They have been confronting parts of themselves they once avoided. God has been stripping distractions, correcting motives, and reshaping priorities. You're not being withheld from each other as punishment. You're being protected from premature exposure. What God joins must be able to withstand truth, honesty, and growth without collapsing. There is a reason your spirit reacts differently when you think about them compared to others. Other names may come with excitement or curiosity, but this one comes with depth. It feels heavier, not in a burdensome way, but in a meaningful one. It carries responsibility. That is because this connection is not casual. It has implications. It will require integrity, communication, and mutual submission to God's guidance. You may have noticed that when you try to move on emotionally, something within you resists, not dramatically OT painfully, but gently. It is not pulling you backward, it is holding you steady. God is teaching you how to wait without stagnating, how to move forward without abandoning what He has placed in your care. Waiting does not mean inactivity, it means preparation. Chosen ones, your heart has matured. You no longer crave attention, you crave alignment. You no longer chase chemistry, you seek compatibility of spirit. That shift did not happen by accident. It was shaped by disappointment, solitude, and prayer. God had to remove surface desires so you could recognize substance when it appeared. The shock of the name is part of the lesson. God is reminding you that He sees beyond labels, beyond reputations, beyond past versions. You see snapshots. He sees the full timeline. You see who they were. He sees who they are becoming. And most importantly, He sees who you are together under His covering. There will be moments when doubt tries to re-enter, whispering that you misheard God or imagined the connection. That is normal. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to trust God above it. When doubt arises, return to peace. Return to the moments of confirmation you did not manufacture. Return to the inner stillness that settled over you when you stopped fighting the idea and simply placed it in God's hands. You are not meant to obsess over this person. God never calls you into fixation. He calls you into focus. Keep your focus on growth, obedience, and wholeness. If the connection is from Him, it will not be lost while you're becoming who you need to be. What is ordained is not fragile. Chosen ones, this is also a season of learning how to communicate honestly with God about your desires without attaching fear to them. You are allowed to want love. You are allowed to hope. You are allowed to believe that God cares about your heart. He created it. He understood. NDS it better than you do. Surrendering does not mean suppressing desire. It means trusting God with it. The connection God is preparing will feel different because it will be rooted in truth. You will not have to hide your faith, your wounds, or your calling. You will be seen without being judged, challenged without being diminished, and loved without being controlled. That kind of connection requires timing because it demands emotional and spiritual readiness. Pay attention to how God is teaching you boundaries right now. He is showing you what you will no longer tolerate, what you must protect, and what you need to express clearly. These lessons are not random. They are directly connected to the relationship He is forming. You are being equipped to steward it well. There may be distance right now, physical or emotional, but distance does not cancel intention. Sometimes God uses space to build trust in Him rather than dependency on people. When connection resumes, it will be healthier because it will not be driven by need, but by choice. Chosen ones, the enemy fears this alignment because of what it will produce. Not just love, but impact. Unity amplifies purpose. When two people aligned with God walk together, they become a force for light. That is why confusion tried to interrupt early. That is why miscommunication tried to sabotage before understanding could mature. But what God protects cannot be destroyed by misunderstanding when humility is present. You are learning to hear God's voice more clearly now. That clarity did not come overnight. It came through obedience in small things, through choosing peace over reaction, through staying faithful when no one was watching. This connection is not a reward, it is a responsibility entrusted to someone who has learned how to listen. Do not rush to define what this will look like. God reveals steps, not the entire map. If He showed you everything at once, you might rely on the vision instead of Him. Stay present, stay grounded, stay open. When the time comes for action, you will not be confused. It will feel natural, timely, and aligned. You may already sense that when this connection moves forward, it will not be dramatic in the way the world expects. It will be steady. It will be intentional. It will be marked by conversations rather than chaos. That is how God builds what lasts. Chosen ones, this message is not meant to create urgency rooted in fear, but awareness rooted in faith. God is inviting you to trust Him with your heart at a deeper level than before. He is showing you that He is involved, attentive, and intentional about your future. As you continue walking, continue praying, continue becoming, you will notice how your perspective keeps shifting, how patience feels less like waiting and more like resting, how the idea of forcing outcomes no longer appeals to you, and how the presence of this person in your awareness no longer creates turbulence, but a quiet readiness, a sense that something meaningful is approaching in its appointed time, unfolding layer by layer, step by step as God continues to align hearts, circumstances, and understanding in ways that are still forming, still revealing, still moving forward beyond what you can fully see right now, yet steadily becoming clearer as you remain attentive, faithful, and willing to follow where He is leading without needing the entire picture laid out in front of you. Because faith matures when you learn how to walk without constant reassurance, and right now God is strengthening that part of you that no longer panics when answers don't arrive immediately. You're becoming steady, anchored, and that stability is necessary for the connection He is preparing to fully manifest. This is not the kind of union that survives on emotion alone. It requires grounding, discernment, and the ability to hear God above your own expectations. You may be noticing how your prayers have changed. They are less frantic, less demanding, more surrendered. You no longer beg God to make it happen. Instead, you ask Him to order your steps, to guard your heart, to align your will with His. That shift is evidence of growth. God trusts mature hearts with meaningful connections because maturity knows how to steward what it receives. This person has been learning similar lessons. Even if your paths look different on the surface, the internal work mirrors each other more than you realize. God often develops future partners in parallel, teaching them complementary lessons, so when they meet in alignment, they recognize not just attraction, but familiarity of spirit. That familiarity doesn't come from history alone, it comes from shared surrender. Chosen ones, you are not late, and neither are they. Nothing has been missed. What felt like wasted time was actually necessary preparation. God never wastes seasons. Every delay refined discernment, every disappointment sharpened clarity, every lonely moment deepened your capacity to appreciate connection without idolizing it. You may have tried to picture how this will unfold, rehearsing conversations in your mind, imagining scenarios, wondering who will speak first or how the moment will arrive. God is gently teaching you to release those rehearsals. When something is divinely aligned, it does not require scripting. It flows. It unfolds naturally, without force, without manipulation. Pay attention to how God is increasing your emotional honesty. You are less afraid to admit what you feel, yet more disciplined about how you act on it. That balance is critical. God is not asking you to suppress emotion, but to submit it. Emotion submitted becomes wisdom. Emotion uncontrolled becomes confusion. Chosen ones, there is a reason this message continues to resonate even as time passes. Truth does not expire quickly. It settles, it lingers, it grows roots. Messages that are not from God excite briefly and fade. What is from Him stays with you, not as pressure, but as quiet certainty. You are being trained to recognize confirmation without chasing signs. God may still use repetition, but you are learning that peace itself is a sign. When your spirit remains calm, even without answers, that is evidence of trust forming. Trust is the foundation of any lasting connection, both with God and with others. The person God wants you to be with will not pull you away from your calling. They will respect it, protect it, and in many ways complement it. You will notice that when you think about walking forward together, you don't feel smaller, you feel expanded. You see possibility, not limitation. That is how God designed partnerships function. There may still be unresolved fears rising from past experiences. That is normal. Healing does not erase memory, it removes control. God is not asking you to forget what hurt you. He is asking you to stop letting it define what is possible. Wisdom remembers. Faith moves forward. Chosen ones, you are also learning patience in speech. Not every revelation needs to be announced. Not every stirring needs to be shared immediately. God is teaching you how to hold sacred things quietly until the right moment arrives. Silence can be a form of trust. When this connection begins to shift into greater clarity, it will not feel rushed. It will feel timely. There will be a sense of readiness on both sides, an openness that was not present before. That openness cannot be forced. It can only be cultivated through growth and surrender. You might notice how God is pruning other distractions right now. Interests that once consumed, you feel less appealing. Surface level conversations feel empty. God is narrowing your focus, not to isolate you, but to refine you. Refined focus prepares you to recognize what matters when it appears. Chosen ones, do not measure this process against anyone else's timeline. Comparison creates unnecessary pressure. God writes individual stories with precision. What He is doing in your life cannot be rushed without consequence. Trust His pacing. The connection He is preparing will require honesty, not perfection. There will be conversations that require vulnerability, moments where pride must be laid down, and seasons where patience will be tested. But the difference now is that you are equipped to handle those moments with grace rather than fear. You are not meant to carry this alone. Continue bringing it to God, not as a demand, but as an offering. Place the name in His hands again and again. Each time you do, you will feel less tension and more trust. That is the sign that surrender is deepening. Chosen ones, this season is shaping your capacity to receive without fear of loss. When you are no longer afraid of losing what God gives, you are ready to steward it well. Fear tightens grip, trust opens hands. There will be moments when impatience whispers that nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, alignment is occurring. Hearts are being prepared. Circumstances are shifting. Timing is being orchestrated. God works simultaneously in seen and unseen realms. You may sense that when the moment comes, it will not feel shocking in a chaotic way, but surprising in a peaceful one, like something clicking into place rather than crashing into your life. That is how divine alignment often feels. Chosen ones, continue choosing growth over distraction, prayer over assumption, peace over pressure. The more you remain anchored, the clearer everything becomes. You will start to see how past confusion now makes sense, how closed doors protected you, how unanswered prayers redirected you. As you move forward, remain attentive, not anxious. Remain hopeful, not demanding. Remain open, not attached to outcomes. God is not teasing your heart, He is guiding it. And as this continues to unfold, you will notice that the anticipation you feel is no longer restless but steady, no longer consuming but calm. A quiet confidence that something meaningful is aligning beyond what you can fully articulate, something that does not require constant reassurance because it is rooted in trust, something that continues to develop as you walk, pray, listen, and remain faithful in the present moment, allowing God to reveal each step in His time, in His way, as this connection continues to move from stirring to clarity, from possibility to alignment, from prayer to reality, still unfolding, still forming, still progressing forward, without rushing, without fear, without conclusion, just continuing into a deeper awareness that what God is doing now is not loud, not rushed, and not dependent on dramatic signs, but anchored in steady transformation that reshapes how you love, how you listen, and how you trust. You are beginning to notice that your reactions have softened. Things that once triggered fear now invite reflection. This is not emotional numbness, it is spiritual security forming within you. There was a time when uncertainty made you restless, when unanswered questions demanded immediate resolution. Now uncertainty feels different. It feels like space God is using to breathe clarity into your spirit. That shift is critical because the connection He is preparing requires someone who can remain grounded even when circumstances are still unfolding. You may be sensing a new level of self-respect emerging. You are less willing to see eyes, less willing to convince, less willing to settle. That is not arrogance, that is discernment. God is teaching you the difference between effort and force. What belongs to you will not require you to abandon wisdom to obtain it. This person you are being aligned with will recognize that maturity in you. They will feel it even before they fully understand it. There will be a mutual sense of something is different now. Not because the attraction suddenly appeared, but because readiness has finally caught up to desire. Chosen ones, you are learning how to let God define love rather than culture or past experience. Love is not chaos. Love is not confusion. Love does not demand you shrink to be accepted. God designed love expands you while grounding you. It brings clarity without stripping mystery. It feels safe even when it challenges you. There may still be moments when impatience surfaces, when you wonder why clarity hasn't fully manifested yet. In those moments, God is inviting you to return to trust rather than control. Control creates pressure. Trust creates peace. Peace is the environment where alignment thrives. You are also learning how to forgive without reopening wounds. Forgiveness does not mean access, it means freedom. God has been healing you in layers, allowing you to release resentment without losing boundaries. That balance is essential for what is coming next. Chosen ones, this process is teaching you how to listen more than you speak, how to observe more than you assume. Discernment sharpens when silence is honored. You are becoming someone who moves intentionally rather than impulsively, and that intentionality will protect the connection God is preparing. There is a quiet confidence forming in you, one that does not need validation from others. You no longer need everyone to understand your journey. God is teaching you how to walk securely, even when your path looks unconventional. The connection He is forming may not make sense to everyone, and that is okay. Not every assignment is meant for public approval. You may notice how your relationship with God feels more conversational now, less formal, more honest. You speak freely and you listen attentively. That closeness is not accidental. God draws you closer when He is preparing to entrust you with something meaningful. The person God wants you to be with will not replace your relationship with Him. They will respect it. They will honor it. They will understand that your faith is not a phase but a foundation. That mutual respect will create stability rather than competition. Chosen ones, you are also being taught how to let go of timelines. Time is not your enemy. It is a tool God uses to mature what emotion alone cannot sustain. What develops slowly often lasts longer. There may be subtle shifts happening already. Changes in communication, unexpected moments of alignment, small openings where there were once walls. Do not overanalyze them. Receive them with gratitude. God often confirms direction gently before revealing destination. You are becoming more aware of your own worth, not in a superficial way, but in a grounded, God-centered way. You know what you bring to the table now. You know your value is not dependent on being chosen, but on being called. That awareness will prevent imbalance when the connection unfolds. Chosen ones, the connection God is preparing will invite accountability. You will encourage each other to grow, to pray, to heal, to become better stewards of your lives. This is not comfort without challenge. It is support with purpose. You are also learning how to hold hope without clinging to outcome. Hope anchored in God remains steady even when details are unknown. That kind of hope does not disappoint because it is not rooted in fantasy, but in trust. As you continue forward, you may notice that fear has less authority over your decisions. You are no longer driven by what if it fails, but guided by what if God is leading. That shift changes everything. Chosen ones, the anticipation you feel now is different from before. It is quieter. It feels like readiness rather than restlessness. That is because you are no longer waiting to be completed. You are waiting to be aligned. God is not delaying to frustrate you. He is timing to protect you. What arrives at the right time requires less repair. Trust that His timing is intentional. You may begin to sense that when the moment comes, you will not need convincing. There will be a recognition that feels natural, like something aligning rather than something beginning. That is often how divine connections reveal themselves. Continue nurturing your inner life. Continue choosing peace over pressure. Continue listening more than reacting. These habits are shaping you into someone who can sustain what God is bringing. Chosen ones, as this unfolds, your heart will remain open but guarded by wisdom. Hopeful but anchored, expectant but calm. You are not waiting in vain, you are preparing with purpose. And as days move forward and seasons shift, you will notice how your confidence continues to grow, how trust replaces urgency, how peace becomes the dominant voice guiding your steps, and how this connection, still forming, still aligning, still unfolding, remains present without consuming you. Inviting you to walk forward steadily, attentively, and faithfully, allowing God to continue, shaping every detail, every moment, every step, without rushing to an ending, without forcing a conclusion, just continuing forward in trust, in awareness, and readiness as the journey carries on. Because the journey God is leading you through right now is teaching you endurance without exhaustion, hope without obsession, and expectation without pressure. These are rare qualities, and they are being formed intentionally within you. Not everyone can handle a divinely aligned connection, because not everyone is willing to wait without becoming bitter or desperate. You, however, are learning how to wait while remaining whole. There were times in the past when waiting made you restless, when silence felt like abandonment, when unanswered prayers felt personal. But now, something has shifted. Silence feels instructive rather than punishing. Waiting feels purposeful rather than empty. That is growth. God has been reshaping your internal posture so that when the connection unfolds, you won't cling out of fear, but stand confidently in trust. You are also beginning to understand that love guided by God does not arrive as an emotional storm. It arrives as clarity. It settles your spirit rather than stirring chaos. It doesn't demand that you abandon wisdom for feeling. Instead, it aligns feeling with wisdom. That is why this connection feels different from anything you have experienced before. It does not compete with your peace. It confirms it. Chosen ones, notice how you are no longer asking God to change the other person. You are asking Him to prepare both of you. That is a mature prayer. It shows you are no longer trying to control outcomes, but are willing to trust God's process. When both hearts are submitted, transformation happens naturally without force. There is a reason God is keeping certain details hidden for now. Full revelation too early can create pressure where patience is needed. God protects what is fragile until it becomes strong enough to be shared openly. Right now, this connection is still sacred, still forming, still guarded. Not everything precious is meant to be exposed immediately. You may sense moments of reassurance arriving unexpectedly through a verse, a conversation, or an inner calm that washes over you without explanation. Those moments are reminders that God is present, active, and attentive. He has not forgotten the prayers you whispered when no one else was listening. He has not ignored the desires you surrendered with tears. He has been weaving them into something deeper than you imagined. Chosen ones, you're also being taught restraint. Not every opportunity is alignment. Not every invitation is divine. You are learning how to say no without guilt, how to walk away without resentment, how to trust that what is meant for you will not require compromise. That discernment is essential for the season ahead. The person God wants you to be with will recognize your growth, not feel threatened by it. They will not need you to shrink or dim your light. They will be inspired by your discipline, your faith, your commitment to becoming whole. That mutual respect is not accidental. It is cultivated through preparation. You may be tempted at times to question whether you misunderstood God, especially when time stretches longer than expected. But understanding often comes after obedience, not before. God reveals clarity to those who continue walking even when the path feels incomplete. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep becoming. Chosen ones, the connection God is aligning will not arrive to rescue you from loneliness. It will meet you in strength. It will walk beside you, not carry you. That is why God allowed you to learn how to stand alone first. Independence in God creates partnership without dependency. You are also learning how to love without possession, how to care without controlling, how to hope without demanding. These qualities create space for genuine connection to breathe. Love that suffocates cannot grow. It's growing clarity, something steadily advancing, quietly aligning, continuing forward step by step, moment by moment, without rushing toward an ending, without forcing resolution, simply moving ahead in trust as God continues to shape, reveal, and prepare what is still becoming. Chosen ones, as this message comes to a close, understand that nothing shared here was meant to pressure you, rush you, or bind you to an outcome driven by emotion. This was meant to awaken discernment, to remind you that God is intentional with hearts, timing, and purpose. What He is doing in your life is precise, not random. The stirring you feel is not confusion. It is alignment in progress. Trust that God knows how to bring clarity without chaos, confirmation without fear, and fulfillment without compromise. Remain anchored in prayer, grounded in peace, and confident in His guidance. When the moment arrives, you will not need convincing. You will recognize it by the calm assurance that settles over you, the strength that rises within you, and the quiet knowing that T's unfolding is not merely something you desired, but something God lovingly prepared, protected, and perfectly timed for you.